Super Mario Brothers. It's a movie about the Super Mario Brothers. Perhaps you've heard of them. Their names are Mario and Luigi, and Princess Peach is there, and Bowser, all your nostalgic video game favorites. We're going to talk about it. But first, if you've not subscribed to us yet, we would love to have you join us because yes, we do talk about the big silly movies like Super Mario Brothers, but also stuff like Beau is Afraid. And we've got the new Guardians of the Galaxy coming up pretty soon. So, as we head into summer movie season, we'd love to have you join us here at our very thoughtful and engaged YouTube community. Help us grow the channel. We'd love to have you. Alonso, what is Super Mario Brothers movie about?
There's gotta be a way out of here.
There's no escape. The only hope is the sweet relief of death.
Whoa! Well, yeah, as you say, Mario and Luigi are brothers and plumbers in Brooklyn and not super successful. And so in an attempt to kind of get their name more out there, they want to help out with a flooding situation that's going on. And as they travel down into the sewers, they find this crazy green pipe that takes them off to another world, but then they get separated. Luigi winds up in a very dark place that is run by Bowser, a turtle dragon with ambitions to rule the world, while Mario lands in the Mushroom Kingdom that is ruled over by Princess Peach, and he compels her to help him rescue his brother, and she gets his help to help her not be taken over by Bowser, who also wants to marry her, but they have to get the help of the Donkey Kong Kingdom. And anyway, it's that. That's what's happening here. I am not somebody who has ever played the games. My entire knowledge of the world of Super Mario Brothers is the terrible 1993 live action movie. And it was terrible. I don't want to hear about how you love it now. You were 8. And one Jellyfish song from that White Knuckles Scoring album. But that's it. That's all I got. So I am not the target demo for this movie. I bought a ticket. I went opening night. I sat in a packed theater.
Wow, was it packed?
Oh, yeah, it was packed.
Okay.
With my mask on. And this was the kind of audience that applauded for the Nintendo logo.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, I want to see what these folks respond to. And if I don't get it, if it's some sort of inside joke, I'll remember it for later so I can ask people who would know. This audience did not really respond very much at all. They clapped at the very end, but it felt kind of dutiful more than anything else.
Yay.
They weren't like laughing or responding in a very big way. And so I was like, oh, so it's not just me because I'm bored out of my mind, but this isn't I don't have any affection for this IP. I'm thinking just, maybe that's what it is. But no, even the clear fans in the room were all kind of like.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I was bored out of my mind. I can't say if you're a fan whether or not it would work for you, but as somebody who is not coming in with affection for this world or these characters, plot-wise, it's very much like Dungeons and Dragons, which I guess is par for the course when you're adapting a game. It's very questy, but the characters aren't interesting. The jokes don't really land. It's fun to look at just because it's very colorful, but I was bored.
You know, it's funny. You say you don't know anything about this and that's why you don't get it. And I kind of went into it the same way too. Like I've played Donkey Kong. I'm a child of the 80s. That's like the part that I knew.
I played a little Donkey Kong, sure, back when the Marios were the bad guys, When
Donkey Kong shows up with barrels in this movie, I'm like, I'm like the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme. That I know. So I also figured, and I said this in a quick little out of the theater reaction that I did, like, clearly, if you love this game, you're going to love this movie because it's like, there's a thing I know and there's a thing I know, and it's kind of approximating the sensation of playing the game in a lot of ways. But I've seen so many reviews now, including one from my editor at RogerEbert.com, Brian Tallarico, who just like savaged it and said, like, all it is like a thing with no new life breathed into it and no new perspective and no exciting adventures. Like it's just rote. It's just like the game, but it's got better animation. It's from the Illumination people. Yeah. And Aaron Horvath and Michael, I think it's Jelenic. These are the guys who created Teen Titans Go, which is really fun. Yeah. And like, it's meta, but in a subversive way. It's meta with like an edge to it. And they also did the Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Which was great.
Which is
I
so
loved.
fun, which is like zippy, fast, like laugh your ass off, quick jokes. And I feel like here maybe they were tamped down to make it nicey nice, to make it more palatable for a wider audience, because so much of this does skew very young. It is very colorful and slight, but then there's stuff that I think would be really scary for little kids, like all the stuff with the, with Bowser and the fire and the lava. Like I think some of that, if for very tiny kids, might be too much.
Yeah, the whole opening sequence where he like conquers a palace full of penguins or whatever is kind of like, oh,
it's very dark,
kind of intense. And then, but then the rest of the movie is just so like, yeah, it's true. I've been looking at some of the other reviews now that I've seen the movie too, and even people who are fans of the game and fans of this world. Yeah. I saw somebody describe it as a basket of Easter eggs, but there's nothing inside the shells. So I can only tell you what my experience was. And my experience was like, this is boring, even as from the perspective of I am watching a movie designed for 6-year-olds. Like there are a lot of movies designed for 6-year-olds that are very entertaining.
I found a couple of things clever. Like before Mario and Luigi get sucked into the pipe, into the mushroom land, like there's a thing where they've got to get somewhere really fast to get to a job. And it's like a side tracking thing where Mario is going like up ladders and like across scaffolding and like over a fence.
Opening fences for Luigi to go through.
Like that was to me like, oh, the seeds of how he's going to be good at this stuff when the time comes where he's called upon to have those skills. Like that was a clever way to, lay the groundwork for that. And then there is one character, Lumily, this blue glowing star voiced by Juliet Jelenic, who is one of the director's daughters.
Oh, wow.
And it is this really hilarious contrast between how sweet and adorable she seems, or to he actually, Lumily's boy, and like the totally sad doomsday things that he's saying. Like that's the best part of the whole thing. Like that's a funny bit.
I wanted more nihilism.
Right. But the thing is like, this is from the Illumination people. And so you have like 3 different kinds of characters, which are essentially the cutesy minions, right? You've got the toads and the little penguins, and there's just a whole bunch of it. It is just very silly and empty and just kind of bright. We got to talk about the fact that, there was such a backlash when Chris Pratt was cast as Mario. And I guess they make like a joke about how he doesn't really sound Italian. Like they do the whole, like, it's a me over and over again. But like you cast people like Chris Pratt, like Charlie Day, like Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, who gets like the most inane shit to say. Yeah. You cast people who are interesting actors with interesting voices and then tamp it all down and make it flat and like the same kind of, I don't know what it is, auto-tuned. I don't know what the correct word is, but it stripped him of all the stuff that makes those voices interesting. Jack Black is Bowser, which I didn't even realize until he began singing a Princess Peach song. And I'm like, oh, of course that's Jack Black.
Yeah, no, I agree. And obviously this is not the place to sort of like let your freak flag fly if you're a voice actor. But Chris Pratt is so bland in this, in a bland role. I mean, like most of it is the script's fault, but it's like, I was thinking about this. It's like you could get an actor who is legitimately like an Italian American who lives in Brooklyn. You could get an actor who legitimately could do the voice of an Italian American who lives in Brooklyn, or you could get Chris Pratt, and they got Chris Pratt.
Yeah, like he's not terrible. He's just bland.
Yeah,
right.
He's the movie's already working against this character, and the actor is not helping.
Yeah, and then Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong.
He has moments.
Like it's fine, but like again, what makes Seth Rogen interesting is not what's on display here.
No,
it could have been anybody doing Donkey Kong. Anyway,
and there's the one attempt at having like any sort of characterization is that Donkey Kong and Mario are both like disappointments to their dads or something. I'm like, okay, movie, sure, but that they don't really do anything with that, And
you could look at Bowser's whole raison d'etre as like a metaphor of toxic masculinity, right? Of being like,
he's an incel.
Clueless. Right, clueless. Like, he has no idea. He thinks he's going to, like, coerce Princess Peach into marrying him, loving him and marrying him.
And
like,
that's going to make him happy.
Is this trying to say something about, like, toxic fandom. Like there's like the slightest, bittiest nugget of an idea there that
nothing is saying anything about anything. And not that the Super Mario Brothers movie has to, but if you're not going to be about something, then give me characterization or like a fun, complicated plot or really outrageous visuals. Like I saw the trailer for the new Trolls movie, which I don't like that franchise, but there are going to be some like, people are going to be taking edibles to go to this next Trolls movie if the trailer delivers on the kind of like visual craziness that they're planning. And this movie just doesn't go off in any direction that's interesting.
What's your number?
Like a 4.
Yeah. Like a 3. Yeah. This is not good. It's going to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
What we say is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Anyway, are you excited about it? Let us know.